Since the day Annie passed away, everything in the classroom felt different. An invisible darkness hung over us, making the air cold and suffocating. They say that on moonless nights, her shadow still appears, gliding through the halls with empty eyes, watching those who once hurt her. And if you stand long enough in the darkness, you might hear a faint, distant sobbing. Annie was a quiet girl, always sitting in the corner, never causing trouble. But her silence and shyness made her an easy target. The teasing became relentless, and though Annie endured it in silence, her spirit had its limits. One day, she simply stopped coming to school. We only heard that she had passed away in an accident, but no one knew that. She had left behind a secret curse in her diary, a curse for those who had caused her unbearable pain. It promised to pull them all into the same darkness that had consumed her. The strange occurrences began the night of Annie's funeral. The names of those who bullied her started appearing in eerie places, scrawled on classroom walls, written in bathroom mirrors, even scribbled in notebooks. Her soft crying echoed in their sleep, drawing them toward the darkness. One by one, they vanished without a trace. And now, it's my turn. I am the last one left, the one who stayed silent while she suffered. One night, as I lay awake, terrified,
I once had a secret crush on Sophia, the most beautiful girl in class. One day, to my surprise, she agreed to go out with me. At first, she was sweet and gentle, making me feel like the happiest person alive. But soon, Sophia started asking me to do strange things, breaking into her house at midnight, spying on her old friends I had never met. If I hesitated, she'd give me a cold, threatening look, warning me that I'd
regret it.
One night, while spying on one of Sophia's old friends, I discovered a photo of her in room. The next morning, I rushed to Sophia's house, only to find out she had in a car accident 2 years ago.
What?
You were playing in the sand, and you found a little band. You told me you fell in love with it.
Who are you?
Leonor and Sophia were having fun at the party when Leonor suddenly felt dizzy and nauseous. She staggered into the bathroom, leaning over the sink and vomiting. Concerned, Sophia followed her and said,
Stay here, I'll go get you something.
rummaging through drawers and medicine cabinets. While rummaging around, she stumbled upon an old doll on the shelf. The doll looked cute.
Hey, Leonor, look. This little doll is adorable.
Leonor frowned, staring at the doll.
Wait, is it bleeding?
They both froze, horrified, as they saw blood begin to seep from the doll's eyes and mouth. Without a second thought, they threw it outside. Trying to shake off the unease, Sophia forced a laugh.
It's nothing. Let's just forget about it.
But as they reached the top of the stairs, they stopped in their tracks. The doll was sitting back in the bathroom, as if it had never been moved. Their breathing quickened, and then the doll spoke.
Come play with me.
They screamed, rushed into a bedroom, and locked the door. They frantically searched for anything to defend themselves. They found an axe in the desk drawer. Just as they were about to open the door, they heard faint footsteps outside. They opened the door to find the doll standing right there, its eyes still locked on them. The next morning, Leonor and Sophia were found in their home. There were no signs of forced entry, and the police could find no evidence of anyone else having been in the house. The bakery was adored by everyone in town. Its pastries and pies were the talk of the town, and people would line up daily just to get a taste. Ever since it opened, though, people started disappearing, but nobody suspected the bakery. Until one day, I went in to order an apple pie.
Sure thing, coming right up.
The chef said with a friendly grin. The pie was the best I'd ever tasted, so much so that I had to know the secret.
Hey, would you mind sharing the recipe?
I asked. The chef just chuckled, shook his head, and walked away. I thought nothing of it and kept going back every day for my fix of that incredible pastry. But one morning, I ordered a drink to go with my pie. Just as I took a sip, something bobbed to the surface, eyeballs. I dropped the cup, horrified, as everything clicked into place. My stomach churned as I remembered each pie I'd ever eaten. I stumbled back, trying to run, but as I turned, the chef was already standing in the doorway. Smiling that same eerie smile,
Leaving so soon?
he asked, holding a large knife. I always had a strained, uneasy relationship with my mother. Growing up, her cold stares seemed to pierce right through me, and her silence was a weight that hung over our entire home. Things grew even darker after my younger brother, Harry, vanished. My mother claimed he had simply run away. But her indifferent shrug left me with a gnawing sense that something far worse had happened. One night, as I lay in bed, I heard a faint scratching sound coming from the room next door, Harry's old room. It was subtle, like fingernails scraping against wood, but persistent enough to send chills down my spine. I held my breath, listening closely. Suddenly, the scratching stopped, replaced by the softest whisper, one that seemed to stretch through the walls and make my skin crawl. When my mother left the house the next day, I finally gathered the courage to enter Harry's room, my heart pounding as I slowly turned the handle. The air was stale, thick with a strange damp odor that hadn't been there before. The room was just as he'd left it, or so I thought, until I noticed a small locked chest tucked beneath his bed. The lock was ancient and rusted, yet it looked like someone had recently tried to open it. With trembling hands, I pried the chest open using a small sharp tool. Inside, I found Harry's belongings, a worn-out notebook, his favorite toy, and the sweater he wore all the time. My heart pounded faster as I dug deeper, and then I found a piece of paper, hastily scrawled in what looked like Harry's handwriting.
Which celebrity?
I had a friend that had everything I wanted. But she was the cheer captain. She was dating the boy everyone wanted. She was the smartest in our grade. And she was always richer than me. But one day I decided to take her place. I pushed her dead body down the lake to hide the evidence. A day later, she showed up on the news missing. The next day, everyone was so sad that she was missing except for me. It's been 1 year since she's been missing. Now I'm the cheer captain. Now I'm dating her boyfriend. But one day she popped up on the news again. She popped up on the news again saying she was found. The next day, my boyfriend and I decided to go to a coffee shop. We ordered our coffee and walked home. When we were arriving to my house, I heard someone breathing behind us. We started to walk a little bit faster to the house. I was closing the door, but I saw a person. I looked closer and it was my ex-best friend with an axe. I ran to call the police. While my ex-best friend was trying to break in, I was trying to call the police. But then someone opened the door and... A few minutes later, the police showed up. Put your hands up.
Put your hands up!
They arrested her and the ambulance came to help me. They drove me to the hospital. Once we arrived to the hospital, my boyfriend went to check on me.
Sorry, sir, but she didn't make it.
What? This can't be happening.
A week later, she got sentenced to 70 years in prison. I thought my love with Harry was destiny. He appeared when I felt loneliest, bringing warmth that nothing else could match. We loved each other passionately, and Harry promised he would stay with me forever. One night, I stumbled upon Harry performing a strange ritual in his room. Eerie statues surrounded him, and he was reading from an ancient book. When I asked him about it, he simply smiled and said it was to protect us from
the curse of the betrayers.
He warned me that if I ever betrayed him, I'd pay with my soul. After that, Harry began changing. He became increasingly controlling, always appearing whenever I talked to someone else. His gaze dark and possessive. One day, when I couldn't take it anymore, I told him I wanted to break up. Harry's face twisted in fury, his eyes glinting red as he hissed.
You've activated the curse.
That night, I dreamt of a shadow chasing me. When I awoke, deep, dark fingerprints bruised my neck. And from that moment, every time I looked in the mirror, I saw Harry's face watching me with a sinister smile.
Oh, the ugly face. Nice hat. Did your grandma give it to you?
The laughter from Kara and her friends cut through me like a knife. I hated those girls. Kara, Leonor, and Sophia. They made my life a living hell with their relentless teasing. I felt like a ghost haunting the halls of my own school, invisible to everyone but them. I was in my room, lost in the pages of my favorite book. When Mom called me downstairs, my heart sank as she delivered the news.
Kara has been reported missing.
A part of me felt guilty for how relieved I was. At least I had one less mean girl to deal with. By Monday, there was a shrine on Kara's locker, filled with flowers and notes. People were already acting like she was dead. But I felt nothing, just anger. However, Leonor and Sophia still somehow found a way to bully me, this time targeting my hair.
Is it a bird's nest?
Both of them giggled. That evening, my friend Luna came over for a sleepover. We giggled and whispered in the dark. But as the news flickered on the screen, our laughter faded. Another young girl from the area had been reported missing. It was Leonor. The entire school was enveloped in fear, and the school quickly enforced a buddy system to keep us safe. I felt a sinking feeling in my stomach. When I realized I was stuck with Sophia, as we walked home, I tried to keep up with her. But once we were out of sight of the school, she suddenly refused to walk with me.
I don't want to be seen with you.
She sneered, turning on her heel and disappearing down a side street. After that day, Sophia was never seen again. That night, something inside me snapped. I drove into the woods, the cold air pressing against my skin as I parked the car. The moonlight cast eerie shadows among the trees, and I felt an unsettling calm wash over me. I dumped her body with the others, hidden beneath the gnarled roots and damp earth. The trio was back together, but they would never affect me again. Little did I know, I had awakened something far darker than I could have ever imagined.
Do you know?
Harry and Sophia, their little child, moved into the house at 112 Berry in Amityville. They knew that only a year before, a tragic massacre had taken place there when William murdered his entire family, but with an irresistible price. The Harry family dismissed the warnings and decided to start their new life there. From the very first night, strange occurrences began. Harry repeatedly woke up at exactly 3:15 a.m., the time of the horrifying murders. An unnatural chill filled the house, especially in the basement, where they felt the constant presence of someone watching them. Sophia began to see the figure of a girl with red eyes standing quietly in a dark corner, disappearing in an instant. She would wake up with strange bruises on her body. Their child started talking about invisible friends, telling her that
the friend in the house
loved to play with them. One day, Harry discovered a foul smell coming from his daughter's room, and strange black stains appeared on the walls as if they were old blood. Harry grew distant, his face pale and exhausted, as though the life was being drained out of him. Some nights, he sat unmoving by the fireplace, staring into the flames as if in a trance. An unexplained anger took over him, leading him to say frightening things to his wife and children. In the following nights, they heard doors slamming, footsteps echoing from empty rooms, and mysterious voices whispering through the house. Unable to take it any longer, Harry and Sophia called a priest to bless the house. But as soon as the priest entered, he heard a voice saying,
"Get out."
He immediately left, warning them that the house was filled with darkness and sin. After 28 days of living in terror, the Harry family fled the house in the dead of night, leaving everything behind, never to return. Harry and